Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I running game like a cheater, I'm balling like.
So I'd forgotten. I'd really forgotten. And I don't know how I forgot, but I did. And it seems like something that would stick in your heart and mind just because it's something that you live every single time there is a baseball game if you're a Mets fan. But I'd forgotten what an emotional roller coaster ride baseball can be. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, more so if you happen to be a Mets fan. But for all of us, so much hangs in the balance with every last pitch. And after seeing what happened yesterday, through absolute and sheer coincidence, something that could have been Game 6 of the 2015 World Series. Kansas City and the Mets. And it played out just like a World Series game last time. It really did feel like that. Tying run 90 feet away. And the Mets lose it. But I feel good. I feel good. If you compare where my Mets were this time last year to what they're doing now, well, it would appear that we are in awfully good shape. And once we made the Kansas City Royals fight for it, once we didn't just lie down and let them walk all over us, I was pretty stoked. And yeah, it would have been great to win. But I'm so excited that Mets baseball is back. But it really made me think, what is it about baseball for me or for you or for whatever it is you're unbelievably passionate about? Are you a fan of anything? Are you actually a fan? Like a fan? Do you have emotional ups and downs based on something that you're not doing that is being done by somebody else? It could be a fan of music. It could be a fan of some type of sport. But are you a fan of anything? See, I thought about it. I was like, this is why baseball is so valuable to me and probably to a lot of people. Everything else that I really, really like, music, radio, television, writing, comedy, all the stuff that makes me happy, makes me smile, turns the old frown upside down when it needs to be turned upside down. All that stuff is kind of sort of stuff that I've done or do or have dabbled with or have knowledge of or know how to do. But baseball, let's be real here. I had a record deal. I went on tour. I think the biggest crowd I ever played to was something like 25,000 people. So I know what it's like to be that person that rocks shows. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but the mystery isn't there to me when I go see shows the way it is for maybe some other people. But with baseball, with sports in general, but with baseball, I could never do that. That's not going to be me. There will never be a moment, there will never be a time that comes to pass where I become a major league pitcher. It's just never going to happen. And the fact that I'm removed from it, that I'm watching people do things that I could never do, makes it special. Turns me into a fan. Completely removes logic from the equation. I have no power. I have no influence over any of this. Therefore, it is my job to just hang in there and take the rough with the smooth. Hope and pray. And try and handle the downs as well as celebrate the ups. In the situation of being a Mets fan, it's not an easy thing to do. But it's one of those things. You get so emotionally invested in it because you have no control over it. It's a magical formula for some heart-pounding action. You have no control over it. It's not something that you can influence. It's not something that you could ever do, and therefore it becomes that much more exciting to you. The same cannot be said for politics, but that level of illogical fandom, that I feel while watching a New York Mets game, is being applied to presidential hopefuls on both sides of the political fence. And you know, it's very interesting. All the smart folks that I know, the smartest folks that I know at this stage in the game have gone, yeah, I think I'm just going to stay home, go fishing that day, and look after my own business. I don't trust any of these fools to run anything. Well, the idiots are like, I can't wait to be there and pull the lever. Or if I vote for this person, I'm getting a free phone. Politics isn't baseball, but it's become it. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. Winston Churchill.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say that there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want.
Doesn't it seem like that, though? Most of the smart, caring, intelligent people that I know, the people that I would hold up as shining examples of humanity, have already sort of gone, this election, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if my vote counts for anything, and I don't know if even if it does count for anything, I want to put it behind a specific candidate. As much as the clown car-esque aspect of the 2016 political process in this country has made people lean forward and want to pay closer attention, I think when it comes to voter turnout, idiocracy will be in full effect. I know so many people on the right. Had a conversation with my buddy Clay, who really, I suppose, is, I never like to put people in boxes. But he's smart. He is uber right-wing. And he really cares about people. Has absolute convictions in his belief. Our buddy Clay, we've played his music on the radio sometimes. And he gets out there. He meets and sees the people on a regular basis. Playing dive bars. Seeing what it is that the average person has in their eyes and their heart and in their mind when they come out, trying to escape the drudgery of their soul-destroying existence day to day by going out and seeing some music. He sees people. He gets out there. He travels the country and is an observer of people. And look, I'm not here to bash Trump if you're a Trump supporter. But my buddy Clay has a mode of thinking that I've seen repeated over and over again with my friends on the right. And that is, if Trump has a nomination, I think that's a problem. That's a bad thing. This is trouble. I was like, so if it comes down to Trump or Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is an interesting one. A lot of people on the right say, you know what? Absolutely disagree with all of his politics, but take him over Hillary any day. And he seems to be a man of principle. And so I was like, all right, riddle me this. If it comes down to Trump or a Democrat, and you think Trump is dangerous, what do you do? He was like, I'd sooner cut off my own toe than vote Democrat. I might have to go fishing that day. And I know a lot of people that feel this way, that have been thinking this way, that go, I don't like any of our options. Some of the smartest people I know some of the smartest, most caring, most involved people I know on either side of the political fence are currently going, well, man, I don't know. I don't know if it counts. I'm just going to kind of try and look after my own business and weather whatever storm it is that we get for the next 4 years and just kind of deal. And it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one, to be sure. The smartest, most intelligent people planning to stay home on voting day. Whereas I'm going to get a free phone if I vote for this person crowd, they're going to turn up. And the Make America Great Again people are going to show up as well. And by the way, the Democratic primary is turning out to be a huge mess, too. David Brock, the Clintonista, he filed an ethics complaint about the Bernie Sanders campaign. The American Democracy Legal Fund, founded by Brock, is accusing the Sanders camp of accepting illegal contributions, failing to include proper disclosure on Facebook ads, and improperly coordinating with pro-Sanders super PACs. The Sanders camp responded to the lawsuit saying just one day after the Clinton campaign said we needed to change our tone, the leaders of their coordinated super PAC, which is funded by millions from Wall Street, filed baseless and frivolous complaints with the FEC. Tells you all you need to know. So this idea that the right is ugly and divided and the left is united and happy, touchy, feel-good folks. It's a mess all over the place. It is a mess all over the place, and the most intelligent people I know think they're going to stay home on voting day. What does that tell you? It's bananas. I was saying earlier that the thing about being a sports fan is like you get involved in something that you have no power control and no influence over. It wraps you up in this incredible emotional roller coaster ride to watch your favorite baseball team have a close battle like the one that the Royals and the Mets had last night, with the tying run 90 feet away. An emotional grudge match. Something that could have been Game 6 of last year's World Series. It's unreal. But the reason why it's so emotionally involving is because you can never do that. You can never be a baseball player. It's just never going to happen. Politics are different. You have power, you have influence, you have control. And you know what? At this stage in the game, I'm really good at yo mama jokes. I've got big hands, and I can tell people they're ugly losers. Vote me!
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's
so if you're like me, you've always tried to surround yourself with people that challenge you. One thing that I never want to feel, it's not difficult, one thing I never want to feel is that I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm not learning anything in those situations. So I try and surround myself whenever I have the choice, whenever I have the opportunity, I try and surround myself by people that I can learn things from, the people I can grow from being around, folks like that. Donald Trump doesn't necessarily feel the same. He was quoted as saying recently, always be around unsuccessful people because everybody will respect you. Maybe we need some context to better understand that, but we'll get into it. Why, when we're trying to make America great again, should we lower the bar? Donald Trump has an answer, and we'll discuss whether you think that's the right answer in a little bit. Right now, though, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. Funkhauser, how are you?
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair, and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll figure out how to do that eventually.
You had a rather star-studded weekend this past weekend just gone by. Behind the scenes at the glittery and fantastical and enormously well-covered and viewed by millions edition of the iHeartRadio Music Awards. You were there, right?
I
you were
got
part
to
of
wear
the
a
production
suit.
staff. Did you have to wear a suit?
No.
Oh.
I felt like it.
You
It was fun.
You fancy, huh?
I did. I did it. No, it was at the Fabulous Forum in Hollywood, which is like Inglewood, right next to LAX. Kind of sketchy.
It's funny,
kinda
like
scary.
The very first time I ever came to Los Angeles, I'd just gotten off the plane from England, and still had much more of an English accent than an American accent at the time. And
Do you say?
I'm in the cab on my way from LAX to the hotel where the record label has seen fit to put us up, and we passed a sign for Englewood, and I was like, "Oh, Englewood, always up to no good." And the cab driver's like, "Are you from LA?" I was like, "No, I've just heard about it in rap songs." And he was like, "Ha. You might want to give that place the big old misseroo." That was my that was my introduction to Englewood when I arrived in Los Angeles. So it's so funny that you should bring that up, because pretty much the first thing I learned about LA when I landed was that Englewood is not good.
It's always up to no good. Mm.
Always up to no good.
It's those ways for taking me through Inglewood. Thanks a lot. No, it was a good time. A lot of things happened. If you want to watch it, it's on there. Go look. Right? See you next time.
Well, you were like hanging out with like famous people. Like, it's one of those things where you really have to dig into Funkhauser's weekend, because if you don't kind of press him on the situation, you're going to miss some rather fantastic details. Funkhauser, what'd you do this weekend? I worked. Really? Where'd you work? Oh, a couple feet away from Justin Timberlake and Taylor Swift. Oh, right. Fun? There's some pics on Instagram.
Interviewed Jason
about
Derulo.
everything.
Did that. It was fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Any highlights you feel necessary to as part of the iHeartRadio family? Surely there were some magic moments that you can share with us.
Well, you can see it. Hashtag iHeartAwards. Ha 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 ha. I missed the red carpet. There's one thing. They charged me a lot of money to park. There's another thing. I got good seats though. It was fun. You know, everybody was excited. Bieber came out. My eardrums broke. It's because of the people screaming.
I thought there actually were some really cool things that went on at this iHeart Awards. I mean, like, for the most part, like, for those of us in the rock and alternative rock community, I get the feeling, with all awards shows, there hasn't necessarily been, like, you know, a ton going on for your average metalhead at these things. And that's sort of, like, always been the norm. Metal's always been an outsider's game. Rock has always been an outsider's game. And we kind of like it that way. But nevertheless, it was really, really cool to see bands like 21 Pilots honored, and really, really cool to have Disturbed out there and being a presence, and the guys from Shinedown. And I thought that was super awesome and a step in the right direction. I mean, like, the award shows are always, like, amazing, like, huge, enormous, fantabulous efforts of production, and and they do, in that world, create magical moments, like things that you never thought you would see, and it happens. And that part of it is truly incredible.
Yeah,
but,
like,
you know...
paging Bono. Bono?
Yeah. Well, what I thought was cool is that David Draymond from Disturbed, who has, like, the biggest song in the freaking world right now with his Simon and Garfunkel cover, like, Paul Simon, I saw on Paul Simon's Facebook page, he was like, I really like this. Here's David Draymond singing my song on Conan. You should go buy the Disturbed album. Paul Simon said that. I couldn't freaking believe it. And there's Dave Draymond at the iHeart Awards watching a guy who is kind of his hero, Bono from U2. Like, they've covered Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. He is very politically motivated. He really sees his music as a weapon for change, and I think he's taken more than a few leaves out of Bono's book, and there's nothing wrong with doing that if you're an aspiring world-beating rock star. But, you know, to see Dave Draymond from Disturbed looking at someone like Bono, like Dave, who's so up in the game at the moment, looking at Bono and going like, whoa, that's kind of a big deal. I thought that was actually very, very cool.
I had a really nice chili cheese dog.
Oh, yeah?
Really
They
good.
cater these things? I've never been invited to one.
Oh, no. I broke a 20 and they gave me a couple of dollars back. And And a hot dog. Here you go. Happy birthday.
Chili cheese. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it was such a fantastic weekend. These things only get bigger and better every single time.
Good hot dog.
What else happened?
David Blaine, the magician David Blaine, talks like this.
Yeah.
He turned 43 today.
Yeah. David Blaine turned 43 today. He's celebrating by creeping the hell out of everybody with that weird, vacant stare. Just like every other day.
Yeah, change for $1. I want to do a magic trick.
Go on.
Justin Bieber, the Biebs, is now sporting dreads. Oh
yeah,
man.
You probably saw that at the iHeart Awards.
Yeah, buddy. Whoops.
Yeah.
Is it too late now to shave my body?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess those are sort of designer dreads. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess he did not get that the old-fashioned way by just sort of like running around not washing your hair and letting the natural tangles take the shape that they're going to take. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that if ISIS or the Taliban saw the fact that Justin Bieber now has dreadlocks, that's just another reason to hate us. Go on.
Justin Bieber and Johnny Manziel hung out together over the weekend.
Is that
why he has dreads now?
The Biebs and Johnny Manziel. For an interesting new festival that's been created. D-Bagapalooza. Go on.
Ooh, I didn't get my invite.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
USA Network announced that Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to host a celebrity impersonation game show.
Oh, yeah. Freddie Prinze Jr. Celebrity impersonation game show. The least believable impersonation on the show? Freddie Prinze Jr. as a celebrity. Go on.
In a Guns N' Roses.
It's his own fault, man. He was the one that was like, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to take my Scooby-Doo money and retire. And that's what happens when you go away and you're just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. That's what you want. You wind up hosting.
Bye.
Yeah, you wind up hosting an impersonation show 10 years later on the USA Network. Which nothing wrong with that. Funkhauser and I would both cut off an appendage to get that gig hosting that show.
Yeah, but that would be on our way up, not down.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We're going the other way.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyways, good for Freddie Prinze Jr. for getting back in the game in such fine fashion.
I can go on as I do my Jay Leno.
Okay.
About this, USA Network. They should have given the show to me. I'm on stage.
Jimmy Kimmel's just a mean guy. Jimmy's a mean guy. He takes Halloween candy away from little kids. He's mean.
He doesn't like that.
Well, the mainstream media doesn't want you to know.
You can do that, yeah.
I could do that.
But no one will vote for him, though. You know,
I could do Donald Trump. No, I can't do Donald Trump. Sorry, I got confused. I can do the other Donald Duck.
I'd vote for him.
Yeah, I could sneeze like Donald Duck.
I disavow. Okay.
Whoa.
Go on.
In a Guns N' Roses concert on Friday, Axl Rose and Slash performed together for the first time since '93.
Wow, that was a really good David Lee Roth. Do that again.
I can't. Impossible. That came from another dimension.
That was amazing, Funkhauser. That was great. Yeah, Guns N' Roses concert. Where was it? The Whiskey or the Troubadour?
Troubadour, yeah.
Troubadour. Some little LA club that... What's a Troubadour hold? I play the Troubadour, which means
like
it's not
50,
big.
60 people or something. No, it's like probably 200. That's where Elton John got his American start there.
Yeah, that's where I got my American start. And look at me now. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is it's small.
Yes.
And Guns N' Roses played the Troubadour on Friday. And you know what? I think a lot of people were expecting it to be terrible. I have some friends that got online at 3 o'clock 48 hours before. 3 o'clock in the morning, 48 hours before the tickets went on sale. And it was like, I'm number 198 of 210. They got in. I have two friends. And you know what's kind of cool about it? These friends of mine that got in are old, crotchety, jaded music industry professionals. Like, all the magic has been gone from all this stuff for them for a very long time. And it brought them right back to fandom. it brought them to the point where, like, they couldn't weasel with all their connections, with the fact that, you know, they're on a first-name basis with the people that manage Bruce Springsteen, with the fact that they're on a texting relationship with, you know, James Hetfield from Metallica.
Day.
You know, like, with the fact that they are, you know, super tight with rock stars and big managers and all this sort of stuff, they couldn't pull any strings to get into this show. So what do they do? 48 hours before the tickets were being made available to people, they got online, 3 o'clock in the morning outside the Troubadour, crossed their fingers and hoped for the best. And maybe it's just because they'd been awake for 48 straight hours, but all the reports I heard back from that show is that it was freaking incredible. Like, really, really one of the greatest things they've ever seen. I mean, first and foremost, there's Axl, and you can touch his foot because it's up on the monitor and you're 2 inches away from it. But second of all, they sounded and looked awesome, apparently. Just what you would have wanted from a Guns N' Roses reunion show. So apparently it was a good start to the nostalgia that is the Guns N' Roses reunion tour. I think due to their age now though, I think they've got to change the name of their biggest hit to Sweet Grandchild of Mine. Go on.
The Smashing Pumpkins recently reunited with guitarist James Iha for the first time in 16 years.
Yeah, easy to pick up where they left off since they haven't done anything for 16 years. Good for them.
I grew out my hair a little and then shaved it. Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins reuniting with, like, and there's been all this talk of the original lineup, and it was one of those tours, he's sort of on again, off again, but it was one of those tours with Jimmy Chamberlain, the original drummer of Smashing Pumpkins, as well. So we're only Darcy Retzky, the chick bass player that started off at the beginning of the band, away from the original lineup of Smashing Pumpkins appearing on stage, and I think it's gonna happen. It's amazing how quickly bygones can become bygones when you run out of your 90s money 16 years later. Like, you know, oh, what's the big deal? Well, we're both trying to make a living. We both have mortgages. We're both trying to build swimming pools and extensions. Yeah, okay, we can do this. So I happily predict that we will see a full-blown reunion of the Smashing Pumpkins in the not-too-distant future, and I, for one, think that's a good thing. Go on.
Sammy Hagar recently said he's ready to make peace with Van Halen.
Now, with him, that's got to be some soul-searching, as opposed to a need to make money, because Sammy Hagar never needs to work a day again in his life. I mean, he didn't after being in Van Halen in the 80s and early 90s. That was not something he had to concern himself with, was making money ever again. But more so than that, he's got that vodka, like, or tequila, like the Cabo Wabo tequila, which he's made like untold gazillions of dollars off of. So this actually might be real deal, bury the hatchet sort of stuff. Although it usually only takes about 10 to 15 minutes of conversation before the idea of burying the hatchet becomes one of burying it in one of the Van Halen brothers' head. But still, we hold out hope.
I guess that I should start by saying that I was
Now, more AD on the radio.
back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me.
Alrighty then. Donald Trump, who, hey, let's be real here, is a very successful individual. When it comes to being successful, making money, being powerful, having an empire of some sort, you could do worse than take some cues from the Trump. He went on the record, and this just goes to show I've been doing it all wrong for so many years. He went on the record saying that you should surround yourself with people that aren't as good or as smart as you. I paraphrase, but we'll get to exactly what he said a little later on in the show. And here I am going, I only want to work with Funkhauser. Funkhauser's smart. He's on top of things. I'm challenged by working with Funkhauser. Working with Funkhauser is a good thing because he's so good at what he does, and I need to be surrounded by the best. Apparently, I would have done better if I went with a booger-eating moron that made no contributions to the show whatsoever. Damn you, Funkhauser, because you're so smart, I'm driving a 2002 car with 175,000 miles on it.
Sorry for the tape deck, bro.
Can't you be a little... Can you just be a little less super in your producing?
I guess. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Nah, go on.
Ben Affleck wrote his own Batman script.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell it came from Ben Affleck because it contains a lot of sex scenes and no Jennifer Garner. You know what? I think it could be good. What was that movie? Argo? Kind of his comeback movie? Like he was still sort of like in recovery from Gigli and Daredevil and terrible, odious dumpster fires of crap like that he made at regrettable points in his career. But that Argo movie, which he adapted from a book, I think, and directed, that really was his vision. And man, that movie was a slab of awesome. Edge of my seat the entire time. And it was smart and it was funny and it was set in the 70s, so it was kind of like kitschy and cool. And I love that movie from start to finish. And that came from the mind of Ben Affleck. And, well, you know, also, you go back to the movie that put him on the map, Good Will Hunting. That it's him and his buddy Matt. The bromance to end all bromances that put him on the map. So people want to laugh. People want to laugh at the idea that Ben Affleck wrote his own Batman script. But as a Batman fan, I actually kind of hold out hope for this one, provided he's read the comic books and respects their authority. And him being friends with Kevin Smith, I don't think he would be allowed to live it down if he did anything that broke from tradition too much. So, yeah, I hold out hope for this one. Go on, what else?
Cameron Diaz, she says she doesn't understand why people lie about their age.
Right. And then added, but what do I know? I'm just a naive 26-year-old. No, I think she said something that actually sort of made sense. She said, like, if you're going to lie up, because, like...
you look so good for 47.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. She wants to lie. She wants to add a couple of years, not take them away, because that way, it's like, being the starting pitcher on your varsity baseball team and then going down and playing with Pee-wees. Like, boy, this one's really good. Yeah. You know what it's like? It's like when Kramer from Seinfeld starts going to karate class and he's fighting 10-year-olds and feeling really good because he's like top of his class. That's what it's like. So maybe old Cameron has a point. Go on. What else?
A marijuana dispensary wants to buy the naming rights to the Denver Broncos stadium.
Oh, really? Wow. Our friend Scott Briscoe, who is in Denver, who just tweeted us, by the way, saying that my friends may be smart, but they're not intelligent if they don't vote. That's an interesting perspective. It's an interesting perspective. And you know what, Scott? That's actually, that's a very good call, because this is a debate that's old as democracy itself. And look, the smartest people out there, there was a study done recently that said the people with the highest IQs tend to be libertarians, usually atheists, and oftentimes don't vote, I think. Definitely libertarian and atheist. The not participating in democracy thing was there too. And that's not all of them, but like a shockingly high percentage of people that have IQ points to spare are libertarians and atheists. And what does that say to you? Not that they're godless heathens or anything like that, but just that the smartest people out there believe in taking responsibility for themselves. They're not looking for a savior, political or spiritual. They realize that it is down to them. And that's one side of the argument. Intelligent people kind of look after their own. They're outsiders. They're outliers. They're individuals. They're believers in individual liberty. They're not joiners. And then the other side of the equation goes, you must vote. You must vote. How can you possibly be a person with any intelligence in a vaguely free-thinking example of a democratic system and not use your vote? If you don't participate in this, you are absolutely the problem and you're an idiot moron. And both sides of that argument have great cogent points to them. I love this argument, and I love the fact that it never seems to end. It never seems to end. Like I said, some of the smartest people I know are considering sitting this election out. And then other people I know who are equally as smart would just crucify me if I said anything like, I don't think I'm going to vote this time around. They're like, you must. You must. My aunt, psychiatrist, one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. I remember once saying something like, I don't know if I'm going to vote this year. And that was a mistake to say in front of her. And I got a not long. And you know what? It makes me sound put upon. I was actually very grateful for this conversation. But I was told in no uncertain terms that I must vote. And this happened years ago. But I thought it was a really, really cool introduction into why a vote matters so much and why you must use yours if you're fortunate enough to have one. Yet there's still many people who would say, it's cute, but it doesn't count. Which side do you fall down on? I'm curious. Tweet me at ADSXE or tweet Funk at FunkFM.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, I figured I would, it being incredibly politically accurate, Funkhauser, I figured I would create a Twitter poll about this idea of voting.
All right.
So let's see here.
Let me get some Twitter poll music.
Yes?
Let's see if I can find
Or
something relevant.
no.
Yeah. Yes or no? Yes or no?
My vote counts, and I will use it. Really? Fraser?
Sure.
All right.
An opinionated vote now. In a very special episode of AD on the radio. Does voting count or matter? Your vote counts. Or I could play the You song. We've never played that. Can I play the You song? Or?
This is good. This sounds like yes or I like this.
In the sunshine, yeah. You are the reason we do what we do. You are the music we play. You in the sunshine. You are the reason we are where we are today.
That's right, you. That's you.
Uh-huh.
We do it for you.
Okay, Twitter poll. Yes or no? How does it sound? Yes or no? Yes, my vote counts and I will use it. No, I look after my own. Our system is broken and a vote is meaningless. I think that illustrates the argument that we've been, not argument, but the argument that has existed since the time democracy began. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. So what, we got 3 days to figure that out now or something?
I don't know.
How long did Twitter polls take? A day?
1 day.
Oh, okay. So be back here tomorrow, this time.
Yeah, be back here tomorrow. Interesting. Thank you for sparking a debate and the ensuing Twitter poll. Scott Briscoe. Let's finish up a little piece of news. A couple more pieces of news, and then we'll get on to why Donald Trump says you should, how he calls people ugly losers. Apparently, you should try and surround yourself with as many of those ugly losers as possible if you want to be successful. I'm paraphrasing, but we'll get to exactly what he said in a little bit.
Good thing we're in radio.
Yeah. Go on.
Ted
Cruz. Wait, what was this about a marijuana dispensary?
Oh, yeah, marijuana dispensary wants to buy the naming rights to the Denver Broncos stadium.
Scott Briscoe on Twitter, who is in Denver, I think, pointed out that it is already called the Mile High Stadium, so the point might be moot. What else?
Ted Cruz said Donald Trump would be a train wreck as the Republican nominee.
Right. Who would be the 50-car pileup? Because that's who's getting my vote at this stage in the game. Lesser of evils. Go on.
A new poll shows Donald Trump would be the most disliked presidential nominee ever.
But when reached for comment, I think Trump said he put zero stock in polls. And he called everyone who took it stupid, ugly losers. What else?
Marco Rubio in the news. Marco Rubio may take a job with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, really? Huh. That's very different from being president of the United States of America. Interesting career leap. Being president didn't work out, so go Dolphins.
You guys think he doesn't know what he's doing? He knows exactly what he's doing, okay? It's going to be funny forever.
Yeah, I understand it. The Dolphins figure Rubio is probably a perfect fit for a team. In that, well, they always look great on paper. And then wind up falling pretty short after a very mediocre performance. So, yeah, it makes sense that Rubio's got to be hooking up with those folks. One last piece of news.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to appear on stage.
But unfortunately, despite what you might have read in my dream journal, the appearance won't involve headlining of the Spearmint Rhino. Oh, too bad, Suzanne. I'm sorry. Have you, Funkhauser, you're all Hollywood and involved in...
yes, I do live nearby it.
Yeah, and you know things about television and movie production before other people's do. Do you know anything about this, like, Sarah Palin TV show?
No.
It's supposed to be like Judge Judy or something?
Oh, golly gee.
Yeah, Sarah Palin doing a pilot for a Judge Judy type show. And if that doesn't work out, if that doesn't get picked up by the network, she's got a couple other shows in production. Mad About You Betcha, Lonesome Gov, and Ice Road Crackers.
Oh.
All right, then. Did you see... wow, whenever I start a sentence, did you see? I feel so Jay Leno.
Yes, did you see this? Yeah, Gmail's April Fool's prank backfired so badly, apparently people got fired from their jobs.
Did you see that, though?
Well, it doesn't happen every year, though.
Most companies just do something... well, this is what happened. Most companies do harmless things for April Fool's Day, and the vast majority of the time they're utterly lame and better left undone. Google messed up big time on April Fools, and they might have even cost somebody their job. For their April Fool's stunt this year, they added a button to the bottom of Gmail that said, send and drop mic.
Yeah, I tried that.
Yeah?
Used it. Didn't really understand it.
Did it work? Yeah, you didn't understand it?
It said something in archive the message, like, this is something really strange. I said, well, that was nothing. Bye.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe by that point, somebody had already been fired, so they took away the functionality of it. But if you press this button, it automatically added a GIF, whatever those things are called, one of those like...
Oh, Minions.
Yeah, it added a GIF of the Minions dropping a mic into your email. And it would also permanently end the email chain. So, like, say you're going back and forth, drop mic, this is it, final word on this matter. And there were, like, so many problems with that. First of all, messing with people's email without their permission and no way to undo it. That's a pretty big deal. Plus, they put it right next to the real send button. So people were hitting it by accident, and there was a bug that inserted it into some people's emails without them hitting that button. So the horror stories started pouring in immediately, if not sooner. One guy said he sent it to a company he'd been interviewing with, and it cost him the job. Another person said it flat out got them fired. And a woman accidentally sent it to 50 people with a serious prayer request for a sick relative. Minion drops mic. Please pray for my cousin with cancer. So Google shut it down and quickly apologized. What happens? I would imagine, like, the downside is Google costs you your job. The upside is there's probably a bazillion lawyers champing at the bit, ready to take your ready to take your case, right? You know, like, hey, you lost income because of Google. I believe we can sue for that, and they're probably going after it hard and fast. So we'll wait and see how this all plays out. Could wind up being the best move. if Google gets you fired, it could be a pretty sweet payday, this being the litigious society that it is. Hey, penguins are gay. So says comedian Daniel Sloss.
I was in Edinburgh Zoo, and I was with the penguins. I was allowed to go in there and interact with the penguins. And the zookeeper was going around, and she was like, and this is where they eat, and this is where they sleep, and this is where they swim, and these are our 2 gay penguins. And I went, what? And the reason they are gay penguins is the greatest reason I have ever heard. As an audience, can you tell the difference between a male and female penguin? No, neither can most male penguins. And penguins mate for life. So what happens is, one penguin will be walking along, and he'll drop his keys, or I don't know, but he'll bend over. And one of the other ones that hasn't been paying attention will just be like, damn. And he'll run up, and he'll have his way, and then he'll come back up, and he'll start low-fiving all of his friends, because penguins can't high-five. But fortunately, in captivity, sometimes female penguins get a bit excited by all the male penguins there, and sometimes they have too many eggs. So the zookeepers took one of the extra eggs and they gave it to the gay penguin parents. And if you go to Edinburgh Zoo for whatever reason, you can ask any of the zookeepers, you can Google this story. There's at least one penguin in Edinburgh Zoo that has been raised by gay penguin parents. It is no different from any other penguin except that it's slightly better dressed.
Speaking of animalistic dominance within organic species, this may be, you ever come across any of Trump's campaign staff and go, not the brightest spark? Like, this might have happened to you in person. Like, you might have been at some sort of political function and met some folks that are working for Trump and gone, I don't think they're terribly bright. A buddy of mine who's a political correspondent for a radio station that will remain nameless went to a Trump rally and is actually a Trump supporter. And said, like, yeah, Trump, great. People around him, dumb as a box of hair. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why would you say that? He's like, it's just because it's true. And I was like, is this going to stop you voting for Trump? He's like, no, because Trump can, as much as you want to make fun of me for saying this. I was like, hey, I don't make fun of you. I empathize. Look, you're a smart, intelligent person that cares about the state of the country and cares about your fellow man. If you have come to the conclusion that you think Donald Trump is the right person and you're doing it without punching or kicking anybody, then, hey, who am I to get in the way with that? Answer, nobody. And he was like, yep. And it doesn't matter to me that the folks around him are, like I said, dumb as a box of hair, because, he will have good advice. How different is that from Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan got into the White House and was very, very well known as a president for being kind of sort of like, I want this, you guys figure out how to get it done. And that's how Ronald Reagan went through a lot of his presidency, and he feels like Trump can do the same thing and, in fact, make America great again. He did, however, think that Trump's campaign staff were kind of idiotic, but they're getting results, so make of that what you will. But this would explain Trump's campaign staff if they are not the brightest sparks. He was speaking in Wisconsin, and he told the crowd, when you become very successful, these are direct quotes, this is not me putting words in his mouth. When you become very successful, the people that you will like best are the people that are less successful than you. Because when you go to a table, you can tell them all these wonderful stories, and they will sit back and listen. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Always be around unsuccessful people because everybody will respect you. Do you understand that? And you know what? Honestly, sounds horrible. Sounds draconian. Sounds like the worst animalistic behaviors on display in what should be a compassionate human being. Sounds like feudal Japan at work. Sounds like a passage out of that book, 48 Laws of Power. Always surround yourself with morons so you will shine, or however the hell those things go. But it's very interesting. It makes me think I've been going through life the wrong way. See, I've always been taught that you want to surround yourself with the smartest, best, brightest people that you possibly can, because that's going to raise your bar. That's going to raise your internal bar. When it comes to smarts, when it comes to how tightly woven someone's moral fiber is. I was always taught that, like it or not, you cannot help but be affected by the people around you. And I've always chosen to surround myself with the best folks that I can. But this is making me question things. Donald Trump says surround yourself with booger-eating morons so you look like the smart person in the room and people will listen to your stories that way. Like I said, Funkhauser, if you weren't so bright and intelligent, if you weren't a super producer, perhaps I wouldn't be driving a car from 2002 with 175,000 miles on it, and a tape deck in it.
Sorry.
Thanks a lot, Funkhauser, for being so good at your job. What the hell?
Other times you feel like it's cool.